Rule change, warning Democrats that their, quote, power grab could come back to haunt them in 2012. Senator Lamar Alexander joins us now. Senator, good morning. I actually want to read a quote from you before the Heritage Group yesterday. You said, quote, those who want to create a freight train running through the Senate today, as it does in the House, might think about whether they will want that freight train in 2 years when the freight train might be the Tea Party Express. I guess what Democrats would say is, look, we're not trying to get rid of the 60-40 rule here. We're just saying, let's have more accountability. If you want to filibuster, come onto the floor, stand there and filibuster.
Well, what we're saying is, let the Senate operate like it's supposed to. Let us offer amendments. I mean, I wasn't set up here to sit on a log. And what's happened is a record number of times the majority leader has said, if I go down to the floor with an amendment for the health care bill, for example, he cuts that off. He says no to amendments, no to debate, a record number of times. So all of this could be solved if the Democratic leader would do what we've always done in the Senate, which is to let any senator have almost any amendment on any subject until 60 senators agree it's time to stop debate.
So it does. So is there a compromise here, or is this? Do you feel as if both sides, you guys are talking past each other? I mean, it is odd to some of us who watched the Senate for years, growing up watching the Senate, that you no longer really have to be in the chamber to hold up legislation. And at the same time, you're right, this idea that you can't offer up amendments. Is that the compromise?
Well, Chuck, the difference today is that in the 80s, when Senator Byrd and Senator Baker were the leaders, if I went down to the floor and objected, and in fact created a filibuster, Senator Byrd would say, okay, we're going to stay in all night, and you're going to have to take your 7 hours, and then you're going to have to take 23 other senators to come take their 1 hour, and if you do it again, we're going to do the same thing to you. And after you do that about once or twice, things settle down. The Democrats haven't done that but once this year. After 3 hours, they got an agreement. We haven't had a single vote on Friday. So we've got to give up the 3-day work week. That we've got to be willing to take controversial votes, and we got to look for consensus. That's all we need to do. We don't need to change the rules. We just need to change behavior.
Well, let me ask you about one rule in particular. One of the things the Democrats want to change is the ability of a single senator anonymously to place a hold on legislation. Would you be willing to make a change wherein it's no longer anonymous, where at least that single senator, still having that ability, would have to identify him or herself? Why not make that change?
I would. I certainly would. When I was nominated by the first President Bush to be Education Secretary, Democratic senator from Ohio held me up for 3 months without ever saying why. So I would, and I think it's an area that Democrats and Republicans might be able to agree on.
Senator, let's go to, obviously there's a new Republican control of the House is coming in. What do you say to Republicans in the House who are no doubt going to get frustrated that they cannot get what they passed through the Senate? What is your advice to them on how to handle that situation?
Well, number one, don't overpromise. There's still a Democratic president, still a Democratic Senate. Number two, send us a steady stream of reasonable proposals that head the country in the right direction and earn the confidence of the independent voters so that we can be in charge in 2 years.
Senator Alexander, let me talk about the debt ceiling. This is one of these issues that's likely to come up in the spring and really might put into sharp relief some of these issues. You've got a host of incoming Republican freshmen, many of whom were elected on these anti-spending platforms. You have what most observers would say is a necessity to increase the debt ceiling in the short term to keep the federal government running. Does this concern you that Speaker-to-be Boehner will not be able to get House Republicans to raise the debt ceiling, and that there could be, as the administration would say, potentially catastrophic consequences?
Well, I think there is a terrific opportunity here with the debt ceiling needing to be raised this spring. I mean, there could be no possible justification for changing the debt ceiling unless we took significant steps to reduce all spending and reduce the debt. And if the president will join with the Republicans who want to reduce spending, we can do that all across the board, not just on the 15% of the budget, that's the easy part, the discretionary spending, but on everything, including the entitlement fund program.
All right, I want to put you on the spot. You're a former Senate staffer for Howard Baker back in the day, now a U.S. Senator. Explain how starting today through January 24th is one workday in the United States Senate.
You can't explain it in real life except to say that that's the way the Senate works. What my hope is that the last 2 years were an aberration. The Democrats said, we'll win the election, we'll write the bill. Now nothing's going to pass unless we have some consensus, like we did on the tax agreement. Some Republicans, some Democrats. So during this long day that we're about to have, I hope that we begin to focus on jobs, debt, and terror, and move the country forward. That's what we're here to do, and we need to get back to that.
All right, Senator Lamar Alexander, first day of school for you too. Long day, as we said. It's good to have you here. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Savannah.
All right, much more ahead on the Daily Rundown, and then coming up at the top of the hour, Chris Jansen and company live on Capitol Hill for today's opening session.